Welcome to Nikki's Nightmares, where chilling tales come to life. In today's terrifying story, we descend into the abandoned halls of Waverly Hills Sanatorium, a place where the living once fought for breath, and the dead never left. From the playful spirit of Timmy and his red ball, to the grief-soaked whispers inside room 502 and the crawling shadow known only as the Creeper, this haunting asylum holds secrets buried in blood, sorrow, and silence. Every step through its darkness brings you closer to the ones still watching from the other side. If you love scary stories, paranormal encounters, and true horror experiences, you're in the right place. Make sure to like, subscribe, and join me as we delve into the deep, dark, and the mysterious. The metal door groaned open, and the smell of rust and rot hit me first. Inside, the air felt wrong, too still, like the building was holding its breath. I'd heard the stories about Waverly Hills all my life, but hearing them and standing here were two different things. The halls stretched endlessly, paint peeling like old skin. My footsteps echoed back at me, delayed, as if something else was following half a second behind. This place was built in 1910, meant to save lives. They believed sunlight and fresh air could cure tuberculosis, but no cure came. Thousands died here. The death toll, 8,000, maybe more. They built a tunnel to hide the bodies, to keep hope alive for the ones still breathing. They called it the service tunnel. Everyone else calls it what it was, the death chute. Later, it became a nursing home. That didn't save it either. The rumors of neglect, abuse, and suffering added another layer of misery. Now it just waits, and it watches. I started on the first floor, flashlight trembling in my hand. The beam cut through the dark like a knife through fog. The deeper I went, the colder the air became. People say the temperature here drops when they're near you, the ones who never left. I didn't believe it. Not really, until I felt it. The air around me turned icy, my breath came out white. A sound rolled down the hall, soft, hollow, rhythmic. Bump, bump, bump. It wasn't a door, it wasn't pipes, it was a ball, a child's ball. It rolled slowly into view and stopped at my foot. My heart climbed into my throat. "Timmy?" I whispered. That's what they called him, the boy who still plays here. The ball rolled backward, almost inviting me to follow. So I did. The room looked like it used to be bright once. Now it was just a skeleton of what it had been. Broken tiles, graffiti, decay. I crouched and touched the ball with 2 fingers. It moved, just enough to tell me I wasn't alone. I tossed it gently to the corner. It rolled, paused, and then came back to me, as if pushed by invisible hands. A giggle floated across the air, faint and high. Then silence. "Did you used to play here?" I asked softly. The answer came as a whisper so thin it barely existed. "Don't look." My flashlight flickered. Then the sound of footsteps, small ones, scurried past the door. I didn't look. I just said, "Thank you, Timmy," and moved on. The stairs creaked as I climbed. The 5th floor waited. Room 502. That's where they say the nurse died. Some say she hung herself from the light fixture after finding out she was pregnant. Others say a doctor did something terrible to her and made it look like suicide. A few years later, another nurse fell, or was pushed, from the roof outside that same room. The hallway leading there felt heavier with every step. The air thickened. My flashlight's beam seemed weaker, like the darkness was drinking it. When I reached the doorway, my stomach dropped. The silence inside room 502 wasn't natural. It was held in place. I didn't even need to look up to feel what had happened there. "I'm not here to bother you," I said quietly. "I just want to understand." The cold hit hard then, Something brushed the back of my neck, a chill, deliberate touch. In the corner of my eye, a white figure flickered. Nurse's uniform, shoulders tilted, head low. I turned, and she was gone. The pressure in the room grew until it pressed against my ribs. Then came the voice. A woman's voice, strained but commanding. "Get out." It wasn't angry. It was protective. I stepped back, the doorknob cold under my hand. "Are you protecting us?" I asked softly. "Or yourself?" No answer. Just that same breathless tension. Then a scraping sound above. Something fast, deliberate, wrong. I froze. The light tilted toward the ceiling. What I saw shouldn't move the way it did. The creeper. The stories say it crawls on walls and ceilings, black, human-shaped, but not human. And now it was here. It clung to the plaster like a shadow given flesh, long limbs bending too far. It didn't walk, it flowed, dragging darkness with it. Every instinct screamed to run, but I couldn't. The room seemed to bend toward it, as though even the walls were afraid. Then, without warning, it turned and vanished up the stairwell, moving faster than any living thing could. When it was gone, room 502 exhaled. The air eased. I left before it changed its mind. The next stop was the roof. I wanted to see where the boy had fallen. The night was quiet, the city just a dull glow beyond the trees. A single red ball rolled across the concrete toward me. It tapped my foot and stopped. "Still playing, huh?" I said. I threw it lightly across the roof. It bounced once, twice, then came rolling back, straight, steady, like someone guided it. "Thanks, Timmy." The ball rested beside my shoe. I crouched down. "Was it an accident?" I asked. "Or did someone hurt you?" No answer, just a small, cold push against my sleeve, as if saying, "Don't ask." Then, far below, something stirred, a scraping, wet sound, like nails dragging across concrete. The creeper was climbing again. I didn't wait. I headed for the tunnel, the death chute. The air grew thicker as I descended. The walls sweated. The smell of earth and decay filled my lungs. Halfway down, my flashlight dimmed. In the dark, faint orbs of light began to appear, small, floating, pulsing like fireflies. Then came the sound of metal squealing, the sound of gurney wheels that weren't there. "I'm sorry," I whispered, "for what they did to you, for what this place became." Something brushed past my arm, gentle, human height. Then another, and another. It felt like a line of people walking by in silence, still waiting to be seen. The tunnel went still again. Then the shadows on the ceiling began to move, slowly at first, then crawling faster, folding in on themselves. The creeper was back. The orbs blinked out as it passed. The air pressed against my chest. I gripped the flashlight and said quietly, "You don't belong here." The darkness paused, twisted, then recoiled, like something hissing at light. Behind me, faint white figures appeared at both ends of the tunnel. Nurses, one at the top, one at the bottom, standing still, watching it. The creeper froze, then slipped away into the wall, disappearing like smoke. The cold lifted. I climbed back up into the night. The building stood silent against the sky. The windows were dark, but it felt like the whole place was watching. I set the red ball on the wall near the gate. "Good night, Timmy," I whispered. A breeze rolled down the hill, light as breath. The ball shifted once and stopped. And for just a second, I heard a laugh, a child's laugh, soft, quick, then gone. When I turned back, the sanatorium was quiet again. But I knew what I felt, the sadness, the warning, the things that stayed. Some spirits beg to be seen, others warn you not to look. Waverly Hills has both. And once you've walked its halls, it never really lets you leave. The story ends here, but the terror does not. Join me again, like, comment, and subscribe if you dare.